What if I told you that you could retire early? Like actually retire at 55 with less than $1 million in the bank? Sounds crazy, right? Almost every retirement calculator online tells you that you need 2 million, 3 million, sometimes more, just to be safe. But here's the thing. Most of those calculators are built on a lie. They assume you spend the exact same amount of money every single year of your retirement, from the day you stop working until the day you turn 95. And that's just not how real people live. Hey everyone, welcome back to Tyson Retires, the channel where we break down retirement planning in plain English. No jargon, no fear-mongering, just real numbers. I'm Tyson, and today we're doing something a little different. We're going to build 4 complete retirement portfolios for someone retiring at 55, 60, 65, and 70, using actual household spending data instead of guesswork. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how your retirement age and your Social Security decision can change your number by hundreds of thousands of dollars. Let's get into it. Why traditional retirement advice gets this wrong. For decades, the go-to rule has been the 4% rule. Pick a number, withdraw 4% of it every year, adjust for inflation, and hope it lasts 30 years. The problem? That rule assumes flat spending. It assumes you're spending just as much at 85 as you were at 65. But every major study on retiree spending and data from large financial firms who track millions of real households shows the opposite. Spending tends to decline as people age. It's not a steady, predictable line down. It's more of a gradual taper, but the direction is clear. Early retirement tends to be the most expensive phase. You're active, you're traveling, you might still have a mortgage, maybe kids in school. Then spending eases in your mid to late 60s and 70s, and eventually, health becomes the bigger cost. But overall, discretionary spending, travel, dining out, big purchases, tends to drop off. So today, instead of using one flat number for 30 years, we're going to build portfolios in phases. Because how much you need and how much investment risk you can afford to take changes at each stage of retirement. And there's a second massive variable we have to talk about: Social Security timing. The Social Security bridge concept. Here's a concept that changes everything about how much you need saved. The Social Security bridge. If you retire before you start collecting Social Security, your investment portfolio has to cover 100% of your expenses on its own. It has to bridge the gap until those checks start arriving. Quick refresher on how Social Security works. You can start claiming as early as 62, but you'll get a permanently reduced benefit. If you wait until your full retirement age, currently between 66 and 67 depending on your birth year, you get your full benefit. And if you delay all the way to 70, your benefit is maxed out, roughly 24% higher than your full retirement age amount. For today's examples, we're modeling a 2-person household, and we'll use rough monthly combined benefit figures, about $1,200 a month if both people claim at 62, up to roughly $2,100 a month if both wait until 70. The earlier you retire and the earlier you claim, the more weight your portfolio has to carry on its own. The later you retire and the later you claim, the smaller that bridge becomes, sometimes dramatically smaller. Let's see exactly what that looks like across 4 different retirement ages. Scenario 1. Retiring at 55. Let's start with the boldest move, walking away from work at 55. In this scenario, our household retires at 55 and plans to claim Social Security at 62, the earliest possible age. That means there's a full 7-year gap with 0 government income. Your portfolio is the only thing paying the bills. We're going to break this into 4 phases. Phase 1. Ages 55 to 61, pre-Social Security. This is the riskiest stretch, so we keep things conservative. A modest 4% assumed rate of return and a 3% withdrawal rate. Why so cautious? because a market downturn in your very first years of retirement can do lasting damage to a portfolio. That's often called sequence of returns risk. To cover roughly 7 years of spending in this early income-free phase, this household needs approximately $600,000 set aside, and a good chunk of that should sit in stable, liquid places like high-yield savings, CDs, or money market funds, not the stock market. Phase 2. Ages 62 to 64. Social Security finally kicks in. With both people now bringing in a combined amount for the year, the pressure on the portfolio eases significantly. We can afford to be a bit more growth-oriented here, say a 7% return assumption and a 5% withdrawal rate, because the portfolio isn't the sole source of income anymore. This phase needs roughly $134,000. Phase 3, ages 65 to 74. This is where spending naturally starts to decline based on real household data. Over this 10-year stretch, the portfolio need drops to around $160,000. Phase 4, age 75 and beyond. Spending tapers again. This final phase needs roughly $73,000. Add it all together, plus a 15% safety buffer for the unexpected, and the total portfolio needed to retire at 55 comes out to approximately $965,000. Now I know what you're thinking. That number is way lower than the "you need $2 to $3 million to retire" advice you usually hear. Here's why. This isn't the 4% rule assuming flat spending for 30-plus years with no other income. This model reflects real, declining spending patterns, and it factors in Social Security actually doing its job. It also isn't designed to leave a large inheritance behind. This is a plan built to fully fund your lifestyle, not necessarily your kid's future. Scenario 2. Retiring at 60. Now let's push retirement back 5 years, to age 60, still claiming Social Security at 62. That's just a 2-year bridge instead of 7, and watch what that does to the number. Phase 1. Ages 60 to 61. Pre-Social Security. Only 2 years of full self-funding. This phase needs roughly $188,000. Phase 2. Ages 62 to 64. Social Security is now active, though spending is still on the higher end of the retirement curve. Portfolio need here? About $163,000. Phase 3. Ages 65 to 74. Spending declines. Need, roughly $224,000. Phase 4. Age 75 and beyond. Further decline. Need, approximately $102,000. Total portfolio needed for a 95% success rate, around $677,000. That's nearly $300,000 less than retiring at 55, just from pushing retirement back 5 years and shrinking that pre-Social Security bridge. But what if this same household retires at 60 and instead claims Social Security early at 62? They decide to wait longer, all the way to their full retirement age of 67, to get a bigger monthly check. In that version, Phase 1 stretches out and puts far more pressure on the portfolio in those early years, pushing the total up to roughly $752,000. You need a bigger cushion up front, but you're rewarded later with a noticeably higher guaranteed monthly benefit for the rest of your life. This is really the core trade-off of the entire video. Claim early and lean less on your portfolio short-term, or delay and build more long-term income security. There's no universally right answer. It depends on your priorities, your health, and how much you value guaranteed income versus flexibility. Scenario 3. Retiring at 65. Now let's look at what most people think of as the traditional retirement age. 65, with Social Security claimed at full retirement age, 67. Phase 1. Ages 65 to 66. Just 2 years of full self-funding before benefits start. roughly $147,000 needed. Phase 2. A short, continued conservative stretch before shifting to more growth-oriented investing. Roughly $176,000. Phase 3. Age 75 and beyond. Spending declines. About $72,000 needed. Total portfolio needed. Just under $400,000. Retiring at 65 instead of 55 or 60 takes an enormous amount of pressure off your investments. And because Social Security is claimed at full retirement age rather than early, that monthly benefit is meaningfully higher too, adding an extra layer of guaranteed income security. Scenario 4. Retiring at 70. Finally, the most conservative path. Working until 70 and delaying Social Security all the way to age 70, where the benefit is maxed out. Phase 1. Early conservative allocation. Roughly $79,000 needed. Phase 2. Slightly more aggressive growth, minimal withdrawals. Roughly $25,000 needed. Total portfolio needed? Just over $100,000. At this point, Social Security is covering the overwhelming majority of expenses, and the portfolio is really just a supplement and a cushion, not the primary income engine. The risks you can't ignore. Now, before anyone runs off and quits their job tomorrow, every one of these scenarios comes with real risks, and the longer your retirement stretches, the more these risks matter. Lifestyle inflation. Retire early and healthy and you might travel more, pick up expensive hobbies, or spend more than these averages suggest. Longevity risk. What if you live well past 90? A longer runway means these numbers need more cushion. Healthcare costs. Medical expenses often rise faster than general inflation, especially later in retirement. Sequence of returns risk. A poor market in your first few retirement years can permanently damage a portfolio, even if long-term averages look fine. Inflation itself. If prices rise faster than expected, your purchasing power erodes faster than planned. This is exactly why I always recommend keeping a solid multi-year cash cushion, especially heading into those first, most vulnerable years of retirement. And realistically, spending probably won't drop in sharp cliffs the way these phases suggest. It's more likely a gradual, gentle taper over time. These phases are a planning tool, not a guarantee of exactly how your spending will behave. Recap and takeaways. Let's bring it all together. Here's what moves the needle most in retirement planning. When you retire determines how many years your portfolio has to fully carry you before Social Security shows up. When you claim Social Security determines the size of your guaranteed monthly income for life. Spending isn't flat. Building a plan around realistic, phase-based spending, rather than one static number for 30 years, can dramatically change how big a portfolio you actually need. Retire earlier, and you need more. Retire later, and delay claiming, and you need dramatically less. And to be crystal clear, these are illustrative averages, not a personalized recommendation for you. Your actual number depends on your own spending, your health, your goals, and whether leaving an inheritance matters to you. But hopefully this shows that retirement, at 55, 60, 65, or 70, is more within reach than the scary headline numbers make it seem, as long as you plan with real data instead of rules of thumb. So here's my challenge for you. Run your own numbers. Look at what you actually spend today. Think about how that might change over time, and map out your own bridge to Social Security. If you want help figuring out where you stand, drop a comment below with your target retirement age. I read every single one, and I might build a future video around your situation. If you got value out of this, hit that like button, subscribe if you're new here, and I'll see you in the next one. This has been Tyson Retires. Plan smart. Retire on your terms. See you soon.